I'm curious, as a game, what do you think of Hogwarts Legacy so far?
I have about 5-ish hours in this game so far. And it's funny because even though I'm 5 hours in, I feel like I've just barely scratched the surface because every time I play this game, I end up fucking around because the castle and Hogwarts in this game is so damn cool. This game is so incredibly impressive on many levels. And every time I've sat down to play it, I'm shocked by it. I'm not saying that it's the most this is the most amazing, most fun game ever, but there are so many aspects that are so cool. And I already mentioned the castle in particular. It's really, really impressive. The level of detail and just the overall size of the castle as well. All of the writing and the voice acting and the way that it tells the story all feels very authentic to fans of the books and the movies. The combat is pretty, I feel like I can't say whether it's like amazing. I can tell you it's definitely not bad. I haven't unlocked enough stuff to truly say. It kind of reminds me of Arkham combat a little bit, where you'll get a little indicator above your head when you need to block. And then if you're able to block correctly, you can kind of like do a spell back. It's one of those games that every time I sit down to play it, I'm just so excited to see what other cool and interesting things I can discover. If you are a fan of Harry Potter, whether it's the books or the movies, and even if it's, not even if you're a mega fan, let's just say you like the movies, you find it intriguing, you absolutely have to play this game for sure.
Ask me this question. I typed a question into and it's an extreme question, but I want you to just say it to me. Ready?
What did Hitler do?
Well, he was a fascistic dictator who had designs on world conquest, and he came to power in a years-long struggle, and then he put people in camps, and he murdered people by the millions, and he took over all of this land and was a complete tyrant and dictator, and we had to do something about him, and he was a threat to all of his neighbors, and he's one of the worst people that ever lived, and just a complete pure evil. What did J.K. Rowling do? Why can't that question be answered as succinctly as that? I asked this question, and I'm like, and someone literally gives me a 90-minute video. It doesn't give, for me to tell you what Hitler did, I don't need a 90-minute video. Now, I know it's an extreme example, but since we're talking about people that are being encapsulated as some sort of pure evil, it should be very, very simple to say what they did. When someone can't tell me what did J.K. Rowling do and answer that in a few sentences, I have no interest. Because there is nothing so complex that you can't reduce. I don't need a fucking college course on what J.K. Rowling said. What did she say? Why can't anyone tell me that? It's complete nonsense. And I think that the effort against Hogwarts Legacy has failed.
Yeah.
Completely
That's
failed.
very obvious now.
Completely failed. And to say that a lot of people aren't aware of it is definitely true. But to say that a material amount of people are aware of it is also very true. Millions of the copies that will have been sold of this game will have gone to people that know damn well what is going on with this situation. And it's a big L, a gigantic loss for the speech police and the kind of cultural tyrants that tell you what you can and cannot like and try to hold a gun against your head to make sure that you do exactly what they want. This hyper sensitive comic book progressive lobby is obnoxious, and everyone sees it for exactly what it is. And there is no power in that lobby. The game is being sold by the millions, no doubt, over the coming weeks. And it broke records on Steam. It broke records on Twitch. This isn't some incidental game, and I really do believe that the furor around it has brought much more attention to it in a positive way. Completely backfired. Just empowers and enriches J.K. Rowling even more. And I think that this is a reaction for normalcy and decency. And on the other end, just a sort of hysteria. Lots of, I don't like using buzz terms, as people know. I never use the term SJW. I hate that kind of shit. I really do. You would never hear me use those kinds of terms, but there is one term, virtue signaling. The idea that people were going to gain social credit on this blew up in a lot of people's faces all over the place. And so I think it's a ridiculous fiasco and a very ridiculous scenario. And by the way, even Twitch taking lots of money from Warner Brothers to promote the game is a sign of the powerlessness of this lobby. Because Twitch is a hyper progressive, very cognizant and conscious of all of this nonsense company, and they still did it and drove a lot of that traffic and that attention to the game. The bullying on display and all the rest, and a lot of people wrote in about all this stuff. It's embarrassing. See it for what it is and nothing more and nothing less. It's groupthink, it's hysteria, it's bullying over nothing. Over ultimately a woman saying women are women.
If you do believe that J.K. Rowling said something that you deem is wrong and you don't want to buy this game because of it, I don't have any problem with that. And I'm guessing, Colin, that you don't either. If you have a guilty conscience about something, then while we may not agree with you on it, I think that it is important for people to do what they think is right in certain circumstances.
Definitely.
And the key for me that comes in is the moral policing of that, like, well, this isn't good for me and it can't be good for anyone else. And everyone else needs to get in line with what I think is right. That's the main problem for me. And the other thing that I find so ironic about this is that, so I highly recommend a video from a really funny YouTube creator named Mighty Keef. You've probably seen one of his videos out there because he's had a lot of really successful viral videos, but he did a video about this. And one thing that he pointed out that I thought was just the cherry on top of all of the irony of all this is that most of this conversation about this game is happening on Twitter. And some will argue this is whataboutism, but I think I don't think that this, I think that this is very relevant. Who owns Twitter? Elon Musk, right? Who arguably, I think, and I'm not going to make the statement whether it is or isn't because I don't really know, but arguably has said things that are more transphobic than J.K. Rowling. And you, when you're on the platform, are viewing ads, or I mean, probably not paying, hopefully not paying for Twitter Blue, but
oh my God,
you're contributing to that, and he owns it. Are you boycotting and making a big stink about Universal Parks or anything that is even loosely associated with J.K. Rowling? How about the bookstore that sells the book and they make money off of it? You know what I mean? It's just like,
well, it's the argument of no ethical consumption, right? You know,
right.
I think it's a cop out though, because like that whole idea, it's to your point, is that first of all, there is such a thing as ethical consumption. It's annoying and hard, and sometimes there's nothing for you to consume in that particular space. And I've said this before, like I'd be so interested, although no company would do this, in a company saying like, we have fair trade domestically made iPhones, like Apple, made in the United States, but they cost more, right? Like give people that sort of option, but no, they're not going to do that, and I understand why. But the entire idea, you're right, that the inconsistencies are massive. People will play WWE games. People will, Ubisoft has a lot of shit, leverage at them, whether it's true or not. Obviously, Activision Blizzard, there's just no consistency. It's literally about who you're friends with. Well, let's be honest. Avalanche Software is a studio in the middle of Utah, not very well connected, probably not a lot of industry G's in there, let's say, not people from LA or San Francisco and all of that. They have very little power. They're going to get pushed around and bullied around. They're dealing with this IP that has been attacked for no real reason. And I'll just keep beating that drum over and over again because it's fucking true. And through this game of telephone, they've kind of come out the other end very wealthy, no doubt. and it's great to see.